Hey,
Hello, everyone, and welcome in. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and welcome to the Mad Science Lab podcast. If you're wondering, no, me and Jesse haven't lost our fucking mind. We're not just chuckling to ourselves. We had a technical glitch, and we've already previewed this game. The problem is, I had the time scheduled wrong to go live, and we weren't live, and we just talked to one another about this game for about 5 minutes. So we're gonna do this one for real this time, Jesse. But we should be good because we've already done it once. So welcome in. This is our NFL Week 5 game previews. Today we're doing the NFC home games because Thursday night football is Bears at Commanders. Commanders by 6. I've got Jesse with me today. Jesse, how's it going?
it's going good. We're getting through the technical difficulties like you talked about. We're finally good. We're ready to roll. So yeah, we're gonna jump into this and just go over the NFC games this week.
Got my intro out pretty solidly there. It's almost like I had rehearsed it and done it 5 minutes ago. So yeah, we're good. All right, let's get into this shitfest. Bears at Commanders. Commanders by 6. Starting off with Justin Fields and Sam Howell. As you can see, I've got the year-to-date half PPR fantasy points for these guys. Justin Fields feels like a low-end QB1 after a bit of a bounce back in an easy matchup. Sam Howell feels like a mid-range QB2 after a bit of a bounce back as well. I think both have some rushing upside. Fields has more. Both carry some significant risk because they turn the ball over a lot, and both these offenses suck. Having said that, both these defenses suck, so I'm probably just going to play them both. Obviously, Fields would be the far higher ceiling. What are your thoughts on Howell and Fields?
Yep, like I have I can't talk. Sorry, Fields is like my QB6 this week, so I'm very in on Justin Fields again. And Howell is like my QB14, so like high end QB2. So I'm right there with you. Like they both provide excellent matchups in this, and they both could go off. So yeah, I'm starting both of them where I have them.
Would you like to know what my ranks are?
Ooh, let's hear it.
Justin Fields, QB10. Sam Howell is? Guess.
You said it earlier. I forget. 16 or something?
No, 8.
8? Oh.
Lost my goddamn mind.
Oh my gosh. It's a party. Hey, so that means we're going to see a lot of points tonight. So I'm all for
That's
it.
how bad the Bears are.
Yeah.
Sam Howell is my QB8. And as I said the first time that was not recorded, I don't want to start Howell in most. He's probably a super flex option, whereas Fields is a 1 QB. But having said that, I have at least two single QB leagues where I have Justin Herbert on a bye. And when I scrolled through, because I rarely carry a second quarterback in any single QB league. And when I looked, I think I probably have 7 shares of Justin Herbert. I was able to get a couple of Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud. Those were my first options. But after that, I had 2 leagues, I think, where Sam Howell was the best bet. And I said, fuck it. I'm streaming CJ Stroud. I'm streaming Sam Howell this week. So I will be starting him in at least 2 single QB leagues, which is terrifying. Next up, we've got the running backs. It is actually, the matchups there for quarterbacks. It's the second best matchup for Howell, probably why I'm starting him. And it is the 10th best matchup for Fields, so he's also a good start. Both top 12 for me. Running backs, we have the second best matchup for Brian Robinson, who could look like Devon Achane this week. This is a great matchup. The Bears, it's middle of the pack matchup. Not loving that split. Khalil Herbert, I think, is low end, maybe running back 2-3 or a flex consideration. He's not a bench, but I don't love it. What do you think about these two?
Yeah, it's exactly what you're talking about. Like B-Rob is set up to smash in this matchup. They're going to lean on him heavily if they have the lead, which they have because it's a 6-point favorite, right? So he should get a lot of run in this game. The interesting thing for me is like Chicago backfield and how this shakes out because Roschon's snaps significantly cut down last week. So we'll see how that plays out. If they're behind a lot, I expect him to be more involved. But it's just messy in Chicago this week. So like I'm not as confident in either one, honestly.
Yeah, I think 2 of the guys I liked preseason out of value were Gibson and Roschon, and both of them are now on my bench because I've had 2 spots, I think, in different weeks where I've said, it's pretty bad for injuries. I have a lot of teams with Cup Taylor.
I have one team I'm forced to start Gibson, and I'm not pleased with it. I'm like, well, let's see how this goes.
I've started in a couple of leagues Roshan on two different weeks, and both times he has fallen through for me, which is weird because I was the Roshan guy, so he's doing me dirty. So they are both on my bench. Receivers, top 4 matchup for DJ Moore. Pretty much, I'm starting a lot of the offensive players in this matchup. 12th best matchup for Terry McLaurin, who I thought was going to be the wide receiver 2 on this team, but Dotson has not looked good. They're also spreading the ball around. They're getting some Curtis Samuel involved. Where do you like these guys? It's basically start Moore as a 2, start McLaurin as a low-end 2, and flex Dotson if you have to.
I mean, if you really want to, he got saved by a touchdown last week. The interesting thing from McLaurin is his his targets have gone up each game in his target share. So he's slowly seen more and more targets. So he's been heavily involved, and he's going to be the guy. It's just I trust that offense passing more than I do Justin Fields' offense. So he's going to be higher than more, but you're firing both up. It's just a high end wide receiver 2 to a low end wide receiver 2 for more. Yeah. And then you could fire up Dotson, but I'm not 100% confident with how that works out for him. But you're just betting on the talent with him. So he's a wide receiver 3-4 for me.
You are correct. I underestimated how much my projections really love this matchup. I said DJ Moore is a mid-range 2, which is accurate. I said Terry McLaurin as a low-end 2. I have him as wide receiver 13. So apparently my projections love this matchup. Jahan Dotson I have at the low 30s. So yeah. Ooh, I don't normally do this, but I have a live trade proposal. What do I have? Let's see. This is my work league, and some of them are absolutely asinine. So I would be giving away Dak Prescott, who I'm not starting this week. I have Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, Sam Howell, Hendon Hooker, and 3 first-round picks next year. So I'm looking to get out from Prescott because I don't really need him, and he's getting old and looks like shit. I'm being offered Jerome Ford, who I don't think has long-term dynasty appeal, Greg Dulcich, who I don't think has any appeal, and a first-round pick that at this point belongs to the guy in first place, but I don't think his team's that good. So it's Prescott for Ford, Dulcich, and a mid to low first.
That's not great. I'd want a mid-range first for Dak, but the other guys are just throwing pieces.
The pick could be mid-range. I don't think his team's as good as it looks. It's the 2 other players have no value to me. Ford and Dulcich have literally no long-term appeal. So basically I'm doing it all to get a low, maybe a mid to low first for Dak. I think that's a no. Yeah. Anyways, let me get back to it here and wrap this game up. At tight end, it's the worst matchup for Cole Kmet, who's looked decent. So sit him. Logan Thomas, 13th best matchup. He's been streamable. If you got to, stream him once again. Kicker, it is the best matchup for the Bears, Kairos Santos. Fire him up with confidence. Joey Sly, 8th best matchup. I think he's a desperation stream. He hasn't looked great this year, but it's a good matchup. And for DSTs, it is the first and second best matchup. So if you are stuck for a DST streamer this week, they are go-to options. I prefer the Commanders much more than I prefer the Bears, but so I think both DSTs are good streamers. Play Santos, play Sly if you have to. Bench Kmet unless you have to, and you could probably stream Logan Thomas. Any disagreement?
Yeah. No, that sounds about right with me. I'm fine firing up Kmet if you have to, honestly. But yeah, tight end just sucks. That's just more a statement on the position than anything else. But yeah, overall, I'm with you on this.
And don't mind me. I'm playing with my graphics here and can't seem to get the fucking thing right. But what can I do? All right, I'm trying to get the other screen going here so I could transition seamlessly between games, but it doesn't appear to want to cooperate, and I can't do it in the middle of the show. So we're just going to leave it like this, and you'll see the screen go blank temporarily while I switch games.
We got a comment in the chat.
Where the fuck is
interesting. Wow, that's a lot better deal.
I just sold Dak for a 2024 first, probably mid to late, so the same pick I was getting. A 2024 second, mid to late, and Javonte. Yes. Yeah, see, I don't even care about the second. The difference is it's probably the same pick, but I'll take Javonte over the 2 things I was offered. I think I would take this deal, especially if you're in – it's nice to relate to the viewers, especially if you're in my situation where you don't need Dak. I would probably take this deal. The problem is for me, I can't get that deal because I already own Javonte Williams. So
yeah, you got to pivot.
in your case, I would take that deal, Chandler. Like I said,
Mhm.
assuming you don't really need Dak and you want to move on. In my case, I traded for Dak, assuming I was going to need to start him, but I have 2 or 3 young quarterbacks
Yeah, no, you
that
don't
I
need to.
like, and I don't really want to start them. It gives me a reason to not start Dak. So, yes, I would
Yep.
smash that deal. I like your offer much better
Absolutely.
than the one I got. Next up, we have the Texans at Falcons. Falcons by 2.5. This one is my upset of the week. I don't think the Falcons are any good. I think the Texans are a lot better than we're giving them credit for.
Me too.
All right, start at quarterback. We have one of the hotter quarterbacks in the league right now in C.J. Stroud. It's the 16th best matchup. I don't care. I am starting him as, I'm going to conservatively call him a high-end QB2. I think given all the buys, he's probably a top 12 option this week. Like I said, he was probably my preferred streamer in cases where I had to pick someone up. Oh, I only have him at 12. So that's lower than I thought, but I still like him. On the other side of the ball, we have Desmond Ridder. I'm not starting him unless it's a 4 QB league. So what are your thoughts here on Stroud and Ridder?
Yeah, there's a 0% chance I would play Ridder even if I had to. I would stream a position player.
The guy who sent me that trade in that league yesterday, he added Taylor Heineke. And my only comment was, tell me how bad Desmond Ridder is without telling me how bad Desmond Ridder is. I like, he's so bad, you've just added his backup. And he's like, yep, that pretty much says it all. So
he's like, he's got value. Don't worry, he's gonna start for you at some point. You're like, sure. But yeah, Stroud's been incredible. Stroud's the exact opposite of quarterback of Ridder, is he's actually good at the position and Ridder's trash. So like this is the complete difference between the two of them. Like, and Stroud's like, he's in that high end QB2 range, but like vibes wise, I'm pushing up to QB1 just because he's been incredible. And like I get it, the Falcons, they've been solid on defense, but I'm still betting on Stroud and the talent. Like he's just, even with like a makeshift offensive line, he's just been stud.
At running back, we've got Bijan. He's my number 2. We have Dameon Pierce, who is 22. The matchups are 7th best for Bijan. He's a must start. 30th or third worst for Dameon Pierce. I think he's a flex at best if you have to. I don't know. I think this passing game has looked so good that Dameon Pierce isn't really all that crucial to it. So you have to. Bijan's a top 3. You got to fire him up.
Yep.
Pierce a low end 2-3 or a flex, something like that.
Yeah, it's like the thing with Houston that's gone under the radar is their defense has been really good. Like they just stomped out Pittsburgh, and their defense has been good. So like this is the problem for Pierce. It's not a positive game script that I expect them to be trailing in this game. So that means he's not going to get the same amount of run, and he might get some pass catching work. But like, yeah, he's a low end RB2 for me this week. Just fire Bijan every week.
Like I said, I expect them to win this one. I think they might Pittsburgh them. I think this one, I think they might be ahead from start to finish in this. I don't think it's going to be 20-3 or 30-3 or whatever it was last week. The receivers, it is the second worst matchup for, actually it's the worst because the worst matchup is Cleveland, who's on a bye. Should have mentioned that. Cleveland, Chargers, Seahawks, Bucks are your bye teams. So obviously those don't impact us. But of all the teams playing, Houston's the worst team to pass on. Drake London, I want no part of unless you have I'm sure there's leagues where I have him in as a desperation flex. I want nothing to do with them. Nico or whatever receiver you start on the Texans, it is the 6th worst matchup for them. I don't mind starting either. The problem is, and I'm sure if I look at my rankings here, it's going to be tough. I have Nico at 19. I have Tank at 27. My problem is this is one of those situations where the Jags, like every week you're going to get stuck trying to play hot hand. So I don't know if I feel comfortable guessing. So I see both of them as probably wide receiver 3s. London I have as 35. He's a flex at best. What do you think about these guys?
Yeah, I have Nico as a wide receiver 2, so I'm playing him. He's just been really good. Like the one bad week does not outshine the 3 really good weeks he's been, so you just trust him to that. London's a wide receiver 3 for me. Like he's earning targets. It's been kind of boom or bust with this offense.
A wide receiver 3?
Yeah, just like wide receiver 30.
I thought you said he's wide receiver 3, and I was like, come again? A wide receiver 3. Gotcha.
Not with this dog shit quarterback he's playing with.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah. You could fire up Woods if you wanted to, or like Dell. They're kind of similar this week. I still believe in Dell just getting more snaps, but like It's all kind of hit or miss. And then I'm not touching another pass catching option for the Falcons other than the wide receivers.
Yeah. We have at tight end Dalton Schultz. It's the seventh best, matchup. He's desperation start worthy if you lost your tight end to a bye or injury. Kyle Pitts, it's the 15th best matchup, so I wouldn't recommend starting him or Jonnu. I think in the one league where I had the option, I started Jonnu over him. I don't want to start either tight end unless I absolutely have to. If you had to start one of Schultz, Pitts, or Jonnu, who you got to go with this week?
Schultz. It's just dog. It's just awful. Yeah. I'm going with Pitts just because the usage is better, but Jonnu's been better. It's really hard to argue.
That's terrifying.
I know. It sucks.
It's the sixth worst matchup for Koo. Don't care. If you got him, I'm playing him anyways. It's a mid to low end matchup for Fairbairn. Don't play him. So start one kicker, bench the other, and the DSTs. Sixth best matchup for the Texans. So I don't mind playing them as a low end DST one. And it's a bad matchup for the Falcons because the Texans have been throwing the ball over the damn field. So probably flex or stream the Texans if you have to. Falcons, I am avoiding any major points of contention there.
No, I'm right there with you. I actually picked them the Texans defense up this week to stream in one of my home leagues on ESPN because they were like the fourth one available and I was lower on the waivers. I was like, I'll take them. So yeah, I'm rolling with them in one of my matchups.
I did that as well, and it kind of took me back down nostalgia, like for a nostalgia trip, because I remember back to my first ever work league back probably this is a long time ago, but the first DST I ever drafted was the Houston Texans. So it's like, I remember the days when Houston was good. They had JJ Watt and guys who didn't suck. All right, next we are at that's a pretty looking graphic. Sorry, don't mind me. I like the colors. Sorry, ADD kicked in and I said, something shiny. We have the Panthers at the Lions by 8.5. Good God, the Lions are getting a lot of respect. We will start this one at the quarterback position. It is a really bad matchup for Jared Goff, fourth worst. I don't care. He's probably a mid to high end QB2 for me. Bryce Young, it's the middle of the pack matchup. There's no bloody chance I'm playing Bryce Young unless I have to out of desperation. No. 2 QB league. He's my third QB and my first one's Herbert and he's on bye. Then I will. I have them ranked. There's Jared Goff as 13, Bryce Young as 25. So what do you think about these two?
Yeah, with how bad it is for Bryce Young, I'm starting Zach Wilson over him in the league. So that should just tell you where I'm at with Bryce Young right now.
Bryce Young was on the waiver wire in all those leagues where I went with Richardson, Stroud, or Howell, and or Zach Wilson. So yeah, that says a lot.
Man, it's brutal. And yeah, Goff's the QB1. I get it. He might be like a high-end QB2, but I'm just playing Goff. He's been too good.
Agreed. At running back, we have David Montgomery, fourth best matchup. He's an absolute must start at this point. I believe he is my RB6. I've just checked. Jahmyr Gibbs, I have him as 25. He is a flex for me at best. I have leagues where for the first time I am sitting him this week. Miles Sanders, this is a bad matchup, the sixth worst. He's someone where I have had to flex in a few leagues because I am out of options because of buys and injuries. But it is a low floor. He has not been great, and this is not a good matchup. So I think it's easily Montgomery as the one. He's top 6 for me. And the other two, Gibbs and Sanders, are kind of flex-worthy. Hopefully they don't kill me, guys. How about you?
Yeah, the Miles Sanders terrifies me this week going against the Lions. You can see a scenario where he doesn't get 40 rushing yards. And he's just basically useless for you. I could see how that shapes out. And they bring in Hubbard, and he kind of plays part of the role too. So that worries me. But
I feel the same way about Gibbs, though. I think he could do the same thing as Miles Sanders.
I like the thing with him is his targets per route run and stuff's off the charts. So I'll at least chase that a little bit. But yeah, he's a flex. You can't start him a lot. I'm flexing him in one league, and I don't feel great about it. But yeah, you're starting Monty anywhere you have him.
Wide receiver, it's the sixth worst matchup for the Lions. St. Brown is my wide receiver 7, so I don't care. I'm starting him. I'm probably not playing Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond, Josh Reynolds, anything like that, unless you're absolutely desperate. The Panthers, Adam Thielen, it's the middle of the pack matchup. I think I probably got him still in wide receiver 3 2-3. Yep, he is wide receiver 23 for me. So he is a surprisingly decent start, but not someone I'm getting all that excited about. What do you think about the receivers here?
Exactly that. ARSB, you play them everywhere you have them. If you want to take a dart throw on any one of the Lions wide receivers, you can take just a gander at JMO, like a desperation flex if you need to. But like it's just low, super low forward than any of those guys. And on the other side, Thielen's like a low end wide receiver too. I think he's like 25 for me in that range. And then if Mingo's not healthy, then it's going to talk to Marshall, maybe get some stuff like that.
I don't even know who is DJ Chark in, is Mingo in. I don't even. I'm scrolling through my rankings. So I have Thielen at 23. I don't even know. Oh, I have Chark ranked at 44. He has no tag for questionable or anything.
Mingo had the concussion last week. I think he's back this week. I'm just not sure.
I have Marshall at 76 and Mingo at 83. Mingo has no tag, so he must be good to go. So yeah, this is Thielen or bust for me.
Yep.
Tight end, it's the fourth best matchup for Hayden Hurst. He's probably a low end tight end 1. He's, flex worthy if you need him. I have him outside that. He's actually down to 18 for me, but I think he's flex or stream worthy if you need him. Laporta, middle of the pack matchup. Don't care. He has become a must start tight end for me. He is my tight end 4, probably moving forward with the exception of the big 3. Kickers. Riley Patterson, middle of the pack matchup. He's been good. I'm going to start him. Eddie Pinheiro, bad matchup, bad kicker. I'm benching him. Interestingly enough, in my start percentage article, the Alchemy one, he is the only kicker who has, so far this season, has a 0% start rate. So he has not been started or under 1. He has been started in less than 0.5% of leagues because they round down. So yes. Okay. Defenses, the Lions get the 7th best matchup. I think they're a low-end DST1. Start them if you got them. Panthers, I thought their defense was good. Too many injuries. Bad offense. I'm sitting them. So start the Lions, sit the Panthers. Start Riley Patterson, sit Pinheiro. Stream Hurst if you have to. And Sam Laporta is must start, and I think is a top 4 tight end for me rest of season. What are your thoughts there? There's not a whole lot other than what are your thoughts on Sam Laporta rest of the season?
Sam Laporta is incredible, and he's him. He's like what we want Pitts to be, right? It's because the situation is actually good and he's earning targets. Like that's the difference. So yeah, I'm rolling with Laporta. He's my dynasty tight end 3 at the moment. So like we are freaking all aboard the Sam Laporta train.
Who do you have above him? I'm trying to think. I don't have my rankings up, but I feel like he might be higher than that for me.
Yeah, he could be. So like I went back and forth with Hawkinson. I just like the long-term security. So like it's freaking Andrews and Kelsey. Like Kelsey's just too good. I don't care. But like if you want to flip Kelsey for Laporta on a rebuild, yeah, do that.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. Okay, that makes sense. Alrighty, next up we've got Eagles by 5.5 at the Rams. Tells you the Eagles are kind of off to a bit of a slow start. They've looked good, but not themselves. But they should be favored by more than 5.5 in this. Middle of the pack matchup for Hurts. Doesn't matter. You're starting him as a high-end QB1, the potential number 1 on the week. Stafford's 7th best matchup. So if you have to stream him, go for it. I have Hurts as my 3. I have Stafford as my 16. What do you got?
Yeah, so I mean, Hurts, you just play him every week. Unless you have someone like Richardson, who's been incredible. Like you're never really gonna bench Hurts. Like he's just too good. And Stafford getting cut back, like I know he's like a low end QB1, high end QB2. But like he could put up a lot better numbers, and particularly the Eagles defense has not been that good. So like he could have a very good game in this matchup.
Alrighty, at running back, we have DeAndre Swift and company. They get a bottom 10 matchup. I'm still probably starting Swift. I think I'm avoiding Gainwell and Penny at this point, or whoever the hell's in there. Yeah. Kyron Williams gets the 2nd worst matchup. I don't care. I'm probably still playing him. I'm going to check my rankings here for this game. I've got Swift as RB8. I feel like I missed Kyron. Oh, there it is. Kyron Williams as RB10. So I'm still starting both of them as RB1s. Even though I don't like Kyron's matchup, his volume's just too much. What do you think?
That's like I'm pushing him down because like I think he's going to struggle with efficiency in this game. So like they're both RB2s for me this week. I'm obviously higher on Swift just because I expect the game script to be better and it'll be easier for him. But like I do worry about Swift's technical upside in this offside. But like he's just a super high end, just high floor guy every week now. So you just play him.
All right, at wide receiver, we have the duo of A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. 7th worst matchup. I don't care. You're not benching them ever. It is the 5th best matchup for the Rams. So Puka Nacua, I'm sure, is going to be higher in my rankings than I would have expected once I looked. Tutu Atwell's probably a decent stream. The question here is Nacua and Atwell scare me because I think Kupp is going to be back. Yeah. I do not. I'm looking through my rankings. I should have checked this out. I don't know. Let me check add player. Sorry about that. I got to type him in. I do have Kupp ranked. Where do I have him? So anyways, let's get back to my rankings. I have A.J. Brown at 6, Devonta Smith at 12, Puka Nacua at 9. Sorry, I missed him. So I must have gone in my projections with a conservative approach here. I have Tutu Atwell at 39. I must be drawing a blank here because I could swear I have Cooper Kupp ranked, but I can't find him. Anyways, what do you see? What do you got for this? These receivers in this one.
So I'm right there with you on the Eagles. Like AJB, he's the wide receiver 1 every week, pretty much. Sorry, I can't talk.
Sorry to interrupt. I have him ranked Cooper Kupp as wide receiver 61, but that's because Fantasy Pros has him as a doubtful tag, so that will be moving up. So if Kupp, which I expect if he plays, which I expect him to play, he's going to moving up significantly, and Nacua will be moving down. Yeah. Week 1, do you see yourself moving Kupp ahead of Nacua, or is it still Nacua?
It's going to be Nacua until we see it, but like they're both going to be wide receiver 2s for me in this matchup because I expect Tutu to get kind of neutralized where he's just going to be a big play guy, and it's going to be Kupp and Puka in that offense. I just want to kind of see how it shakes out, but like they're wide receiver 2s for me in this matchup.
All right, at tight end, it is the top 3 matchup for Higbee. He is a solid streamer if you need one. Dallas Goedert, it's the 8th best matchup. This is a put up or shut up week. I've been out on Goddard all year. He's done nothing. He needs to do something this week, or you need to start looking for other options. So I think both are solid plays. Both need to do something or they're droppable. At kicker, it's top 6 matchup for Jake Elliott. He has been one of the most top 3 reliable kickers this year. I am starting him without question. He may be my start of the week at kicker. I got to look. Brett Maher, worst matchup, bad kicker. I am benching his ass. And the DSTs, it's a middle of the pack matchup for the Rams, so I want nothing to do with them. It says it's a bottom 8 matchup for the Eagles, but I think that's some weak competition for the Rams and some weak defenses. So I'm confident starting the Eagles as a top 12. Any disagreements with that?
The Eagles do worry me a little bit this week because, like, I've been disappointed in their defense. I mean, besides the one game we just saw, but like overall, their defense has been a little worse than I anticipated. So I'm curious to see how this works out. It's just if the Rams line can hold up. Like, can they hold up against that pressure? If they can, they will produce points. So like that's where my point of contention is. But besides that, yeah. And Goddard, like I'm debating starting Musgrave over him. So that's kind of where I'm at with Goddard.
I don't think that's a debate. If I have Musgrave available, I think I'm starting Musgrave. Yeah. The only option, or the only thing is, it's like I said, it's a great matchup. Whereas for, what did I say for Musgrave? I think I have Musgrave. Vegas. Musgrave's down at 15, but I assume Vegas is going to come up very nicely on my matchup chart.
Yeah,
it's a better matchup for Goddard than it is Musgrave. It's still top 12, but it's,
Yeah, I throw him in by top 12 by default, but yeah, I'm not feeling great about it.
All right, next up, we've got Cowboys at Niners. 3.5 spread for the Niners. This one scares me. I like a lot of the players and a lot of the defenses on this one, but this is one of the weeks where I think you probably got to sit a lot of guys because this could very well turn into a 50-49 shootout. This could also turn into a 14-10 defensive fucking showdown. Both these teams are great defenses and both are great offenses. So this one worries me. We've got Purdy. It's the 2nd worst matchup for him. I think he's a mid-range QB2. I don't really want any part of him. 8th worst matchup for Dak. I don't feel much more confident in him. I think he's probably a low-end 1 for me. Having said that, I'll look at my rankings, and Dak is much lower. I have Dak at 20, and I have Purdy at 17. So both of them for me in my projections are low-end QB2s to mid-range QB2s. If you've got better options, I suggest using them. They're still playable in Superflex, and they're still playable in a pinch. I don't hate them. They are just not my preferred targets this week. How do you feel, Jesse?
Yeah, I think the quarterbacks are the ones in this matchup that take the biggest hit, just because like those turnovers and pressure can really get to them. So that's
Agreed.
I'm higher on Purdy than I am Prescott this week. So like I'll start him over Prescott, but it just depends on what your other options are. Like I don't want to bench them where the point where I'm putting in like a really bad player at quarterback, but it's just kind of who you have to play.
The running backs are where we get to the point where I don't think I care. McCaffrey, it is the worst matchup in fantasy football for him by a long shot. I don't give a fuck. He's my RB1 in my rankings. Tony Pollard is my RB4 in what is the 12th worst matchup. I don't care. I'm still starting him as an RB1. Both of them high-end RB1s. Moving on, correct? Nothing else to say?
You can't bench them. You cannot bench them.
Nope. The receivers kind of scare me. CeeDee Lamb, it's a middle-of-the-pack matchup. I think you're going to play him regardless as probably a low. I think he's a low-end one, maybe with a little less upside. I have him as 10 right now. I don't really want any part of Gallup, Tolbert, whoever the hell else is back there. The 49ers scare me a bit. It's the third worst matchup, and it doesn't necessarily scare me because the matchup is bad. It scares me because I don't know who to pick every week. McCaffrey is going to be the number one. Who gets to be the number two every week is a rotating circle between Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle, and I have no confidence in this. So I'm going to scroll my rankings. I have Ayuk at 14. I have Debo at 17, and Kittle's a tight end, so he's not on it.
Yeah.
I'm probably still starting the two of them as wide receiver twos, but I'm expecting one of them I think is going to be a bust, and one of them I think is going to be good. What are your thoughts on the three receivers?
Kittle's the one that I'm like that I'll fade when they're all healthy. Like Kittle's the guy that takes the hit. So like I'm gonna play Debo. I'm gonna play Ayuk. Debo was dealing with an injury, so I'm just gonna chalk that up to just a bad week last week where he had that. But like you can't bench Ayuk. He's on pace for like 1,800 yards. Like that'd just be asinine. But so yeah, I'm gonna play those two and CeeDee Lamb. Like those are the guys I'm all basically gonna play each and every week.
Alrighty, at tight end, it is both of them are bottom 10 matchups. Kittle and Ferguson. My rankings have Kittle at 5, Ferguson at 10, but I'm a little conservative about that one. I like Ferguson. I still got to start Kittle more, but I think they're both probably they're low-end tight end. Excuse me. Low-end tight end ones with mid-range tight end one upside. I'm starting them both. Kicker, Brandon Aubrey has a bottom 9 matchup here. It doesn't matter. I'm still firing him up. He's been pretty good. Jake Moody, it's the second worst matchup. Also doesn't matter. I'm firing him up. I think I want to fire both of them up because they've been lower ranked because these offenses don't typically settle for a lot of field goals. They might this week against some solid defenses. And the DSTs, I want no part of either. They are I think they're like 1 and 2 for me in defensive rankings, but they're the 1 and 2 worst defensive matchup this week. And in some of my matchup article or guides, I have it as these are some of the only weeks. Like there's 5 teams I bench my DST against: Dallas, San Fran, KC, Buffalo, Miami, and it was Cincy at one point. So I got to bench these 2. This is one of the rare situations where I will advocate carrying a second DST because you can't play either of these DSTs, but you can't drop them. So what are your thoughts on that?
It's all about what's on the waiver wire. Like if there's decent streaming options, I'm all for it. Sometimes you just kind of have to play them and deal with it, but it's low. And like also with Kittle, if he has a blow up game, I am looking to trade him like immediately after this game because I want nothing to do with him. Like when he's the 4th option on that team, so it's just like I'm just out on him. And like with Ferguson, like he looks pretty good and he's getting the targets, so like he could be pretty good for the rest of the season.
San Fran is still ranked 3rd for me, and Dallas is DST 7, but like that scares me.
That's the thing; you kind of have to.
If I can stream, actually, the ones where I have these, I've pivoted a lot to Miami. I would love to see them get another 11 sacks here against the Giants this week. So Miami has been my pivot. I've pivoted a few times to the Lions against the Panthers, Saints against the Patriots, Patriots against the Saints. So if those options are available, I would pivot away from, I don't know. Like I said, it could be a low-scoring defensive struggle. Could also be a high-scoring shootout. It's not really something I want to risk. So
yeah, exactly.
That's where I'm at with that. Let's bring up our next game. We got 2 left. This one is Chiefs at Vikings. Chiefs-Vikings with the Chiefs favored by 5.5. Starting at quarterback, Obviously, these two are must starts. Mahomes is my QB1 on the week. Cousins is my QB7. Chiefs defense isn't terrible. He didn't look great last week, but they're both must starts. Agreed?
Yep. Yeah, you fire them up. They're just too good.
It is bottom 10 matchup for Cousins. It is a top 10 matchup for Mahomes. But like I said, it doesn't matter. You're starting both. The receivers. The running backs. It's a bottom 6 matchup for Madison. I think you got to fire him up anyways, just because, I don't know, it's bye week. There's not a whole lot else out there. I have Madison ranked as my RB21. Pacheco's my RB16. It's a bottom 10 matchup, but I really like Pacheco's usage. So I could see Pacheco being a mid-range RB2, high-end RB2 maybe. Madison, I think, is mid-range RB2 at best. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Pacheco has upside to finish as RB1 this week. Like, he's been really good. He's been involved. It's just if he gets those touchdowns or not this week. But, like, Madison's a low-end RB2 for me. But, like, you still kind of play him. There is just not enough running backs, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with those two.
Bad matchup for Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I don't care. I'm starting them both. Jefferson has a top 3. Addison has more like a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 option. It's the best matchup for receivers for the Chiefs. The problem is guessing who it is. I have been partial the last 2 weeks to Rashee Rice. I think he's really emerging. Having said that, I got Jefferson as 2. Wide receiver, the next one is, I'm scrolling. Wide receiver 30 for Addison, so he's a 3 for me. I don't have any Chiefs ranked inside the top 40. My highest ranked is Rashee Rice at 41. Then I have Sky at 47 and Kadarius at 49. So I have 3 of them in the 40s, which tells you it's kind of just spin the wheel and hope you land on the right one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's kind of what you do with the projections of the Chiefs. It's just like pick your favorite because they're all going to come out similarly with projections, right? So yeah, just take, if you want to start one of them, really just pick your favorite because it's honestly too hard to predict. On the other side, so like Jefferson's like a wide receiver 1. Like we don't got to talk about him. The thing about Addison is like his usage kind of worries me. He hasn't picked it up yet. We're still waiting on it to increase. So you got to play him. It's too good, but like it's just he might have another bone week.
Tight end, good matchup for Hawkinson. Middling matchup for Kelsey. Doesn't matter. They are my 1 and 2 with Kelsey at 1, Hawkinson at 2. Kicker, it is a bottom 3 matchup for Joseph. He hasn't been good, so I'm benching him. Middle of the pack matchup for Butker. Don't care. He's been great. I am playing him. And the DSTs, it's 9th best matchup for KC. They're a decent option. I don't mind if you have to pivot away from Dallas or San Fran. You could play them. Not my favorite, but they're startable. And Minnesota, it's a low-end matchup. I'm not playing them against the Chiefs. So they are an avoid for me. Any thoughts on the end there?
No, that makes perfect sense. It's like fire up these tight ends every week. And yeah, I want nothing to do with defense this week. Just absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Right. Our final one, we have the Bengals by 4.5 at the Cardinals, which tells you how bad the fucking Bengals have been. But this is another one in my sleeper guide. I have this as a potential upset because the Bengals look terrible. They're without T. Higgins, and Joshua Dobbs has somehow been decent. So we'll start with the quarterbacks. Where the hell are we? How the hell low do I have him?
Yeah, that's the struggle with Burrow.
I can't even find. Oh, Joe Burrow. Holy shit. Joe Burrow is my QB 13. That is truly horrifying. So Joe Burrow has QB 13. Josh Dobbs has 19. The matchups go. It is a top 6 matchup for Burrow, so I'm still starting him as a QB1. It's just scary. It's a top 12 matchup for Dobbs. He's not my favorite. If you got him in Superflex, you're playing him. He's not on the map in 1 QB. What do you think about these guys?
Yeah, it's interesting how close they come on projections, these two, just because Dobbs is rushing a lot and he's been good and efficient, where Burrow has just been not Joe Burrow. Like he's been the opposite of what we expect from Joe Burrow. So like if you have other options, like I don't mind pivoting off of Burrow in this matchup until we see him kind of back to what he is. It's just, man, it's depressing is what it is with the Bengals offense, to tell you the truth. But yeah, Dobbs, you can fire him up this week. I wouldn't hate it, honestly.
Joe Mixon, it's the 3rd best matchup, so you probably got to start him. Excuse me. I have him as RB13 on the week. It's a middle of the pack matchup for Connor with a heavy workload. I suspect he's still startable as a high-end RB2. I have him as RB17 on the week. What do you think about these two?
Yeah, so I actually have Connor higher in my rankings this week, which is interesting, but that's kind of where it came out. So I'm playing both of these running backs. It's just you're never that confident with Joe Mixon these days, especially with this offense. Like the confidence is not there. So like I'm seeing the usage and how they're using Connor, and I'm just gonna go with him on this week over Mixon. But yeah, you're playing both.
Wide receivers, it's a bottom 10 matchup, bottom 12 matchup for Jamar Chase. I don't care. No T. Higgins. He is my wide receiver 4 on the week. I am playing him regardless of how bad they look. For the Cardinals, middle of the pack matchup, I think I have Hollywood Brown higher. I'm looking here. I have Marquise Brown at 16. I'd like to know how high up I have, what's his name? Michael Wilson I have as a wide receiver 3. So he is flex worthy. He is my wide receiver 36. So what are your thoughts here? Fire up Chase and the other 2 can be used as a 2 and a 3?
Yeah, it's like Wilson and Boyd are pretty close in rankings, but like we know who Tyler Boyd is. He's just a possession.
I forgot Boyd. Just a sec. Let me check. You're right. I added Boyd today in a league for that exact reason, and I completely forgot he was even on this freaking team. So Boyd is. I have
him and Wilson a few spots.
Boyd's my 40, wide receiver 40. So, all right.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Let's wrap it up at this. Where are we at? Irv Smith, middle of the pack matchup. He's been bad. Zach Ertz is the 6th best matchup, so you can start him. I have Ertz as 9. Irv Smith, I don't even know if I have Irv Smith ranked. Where the hell is he? Irv Smith.
Is he healthy? Is he playing?
I have him at tight end 33. So
yeah,
I'm going to say no. He's probably not healthy. DSTs, Arizona, it is the 4th best matchup, which is kind of, kickers we're at. It's the 4th best matchup for Prater. That makes a lot more sense. So I'm going to fire up Prater. He's been decent. McPherson, it is a bad matchup for him. I don't care. I'm firing him up anyway. So I think you can start both these kickers. The DSTs, it's a bad matchup for the Bengals. Who would have thought that about a Josh Dobbs-led Cardinals team? But I think I'm avoiding both these DSTs. I don't really care. The Cardinals are middle of the pack. It's a middle of the pack matchup for them, but I think the Bengals could get back on track anytime. So just their ceiling has me completely out. What are your thoughts here on the final trio to wrap it up?
That's what worries me about Cincinnati is you feel like at any point they could turn it around where they're going to be that dynamic offense. And if you're playing a defense against them, you can get negative points. Like that's how it kind of feels. So you have to be careful playing like the Cardinals. Their defense has been solid. And same thing with Cincinnati. Like the defense has been pretty good. So I don't mind rolling with Cincinnati either.
Alrighty. Well, that wraps up our NFL Week 5 preview of the NFC home games, including Thursday Night Football. Thank you for joining the Mad Science Lab podcast. For Aaron and Jesse, take care and good luck tonight on Thursday Night Football. Have a good day.